Oh, praise the Most High. Golly, how about you now? Shine. We're on here for another sister's call through the power spirit of the Most High and His beloved Son, Yahweh Shine. Today, as we all know, is 4th of July because we all know that the 4th is supposed to be the celebration. You know, America's turning 250 years old. It's supposed to be like a huge thing this year. I'm sure sisters have been seeing it around if you've been out and about. But yeah, we're not dealing with that. The Lord's not dealing with that. You know, we gotta make sure that we're cognitive of, the spirits behind this holiday, the so-called holiday, knowing that, the Most High is not dealing with this day. He's not dealing with the oppression of our people. And we know that looking back through history on, July 4th, 1776, our people were not free. Our people were not free. So there's nothing to celebrate, and I think it's beautiful as well because the Most High, he's so good. He's so good. And he always gives us a choice. He has always given us a choice, even as a nation, even as individuals. He's always given us a choice. Are you going to serve him? Or are you going to serve your flesh? Are you going to serve man? Are you going to serve, what this world wants you to do and thinks you should do and celebrate and observe and keep holy? He always gives us that choice. And, the Most High, he had it many times of where, these pagan holidays, these wicked feasts of the world, they'll fall on the Sabbath day. And that's the case for this one. 4th of July just happened to fall on the Sabbath day this year. And a lot of our people, unfortunately, have chosen to keep the 4th of July instead of keeping the Sabbath day holy. You got people as we speak right now at Walmart, Publix, whatever the case is, buying at the firework place, buying, are people selling, probably selling watermelons, selling barbecue plates. Oh yeah, okay. And if you want to come to the cookout, you got to pay your $30, $45, or you can't eat. It's that none of that should be going on the Sabbath day. None of it. So we're just gonna go over some precepts on it today, and I want to pull up this article for y'all too, Lord willing. But before we get into all of that, we're gonna get our foundational precept. 1 Corinthians 15-58. Therefore, my beloved brethren, be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord, for as much as ye know that your labor is not vain in the Lord. So we got to make sure that we're not being movable. And then pertaining to this topic as well, we can't just I'm always bounding the work, but when these holidays come around, I'm kind of like, oh well, my uncle, he did say that he wouldn't, well, what's a good example? He said that he'll save me, some of them I don't know, the 4th of July dessert. I mean, maybe if I just pick it up and then I just come back to the house and just continue on keeping the Sabbath day. No, we want to always be abounding in the work, and we want to abstain from any appearance of evil. And let me get that really quick, because a lot of the times, Satan, he's crafty. He is crafty, and if he can get you to keep these days without knowing it or feeling like you're convicted in your spirit, he's going to do that. He's going to do that. He's going to use anybody, mom and daddy, sister, brother, cousin, uncle, auntie, grandma, grandpa, whoever, and try to get you out of the truth. Because that's his main objective, is to get us out of the truth, to take our crown from us. Scripture said, let no man take your crown. This is 1 Thessalonians 5:22. It says, abstain from all appearance of evil. So we don't want to be giving a bad name to this truth, this ministry, to the Most High. And how would that look? Here you are, told the whole family, oh, I'm an Israelite, I don't do that. I don't eat pork. I'm not eating those ribs. I don't keep any holidays, this, that, and the third. But here you are, you pulling up. Talking about, I just wanted to show my face, say, hey, how you doing, everybody? But now, next thing you know, now you eat. Now, next thing you took your kids over there. Now they want to play with the fireworks. Now they got some 4th of July American flag sunglasses on now. That's not abstaining from all appearance of evil. That look like you right there along with them, celebrating. So we got to remember this. We got to make sure that we're always abounding in the work of the Lord, not letting Satan catch us slipping. We got to be cognitive of these things. And let me get the song, because we got to get it every time. We got to get it every time. Our song for the Sabbath day. This is Psalms 92 and verse 1, a psalm or song for the Sabbath day. It is a good thing to give thanks unto the Lord and to sing praises unto thy name, O Most High, to show forth thy love and kindness in the morning and thy faithfulness every night. Upon an instrument of 10 strings and upon the psaltery, upon the harp with a solemn sound. For thou, Lord, hast made me glad through thy work. I will triumph in the works of thy hands. O Lord, how great are thy works, and thy thoughts are very deep. A brutish man knoweth not, neither doth a fool understand this. When the wicked spring as the grass, and when all the workers of iniquity do flourish, it is that they shall be destroyed forever. But thou, Lord, art most high forevermore. For lo, thine enemies, O Lord, for lo, thine enemies shall perish. All the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. But my horn shalt thou exalt like the horn of an unicorn. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Mine eye also shall see my desire on mine enemies, and mine ear shall hear my desire of the wicked that rise up against me. The righteous shall flourish like the palm tree. He shall grow like a cedar in Lebanon. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God. They shall still bring forth fruit in old age. They shall be fat and flourishing, to show that the Lord is upright. He is my rock, and there is no unrighteousness in him. So this is a beautiful psalm too, and it's very timely for this topic right here today, right here, because when we go and when we sit and think about all the things that our people, the Israelites, have gone through over the years, over the centuries, it's horrible. It's horrible. We have enemies, whether we like to believe it or not, whether people in the world like to believe it or not, rather, because a lot of the time people just kind of forget, or even our people are included. Our people have forgotten, because there's no way that you're comfortable celebrating a holiday where it's supposed to be about freedom and justice and, oh, we love America, the land of the free, home of the brave, all these things. But I mean, there's no justice here for us. We've been oppressed since we got here. And even for the people who were here, our Gadite brothers and sisters, Reubenite brothers and sisters, they were here. They were oppressed. So, I mean, there's nothing to celebrate. And these truly are our enemies. Even now in 2026, we still have multiple of our brothers and our sisters being lynched, shot, hunted, humiliated. I mean, this is not a rest. There's nothing to celebrate. Nothing about this place grants celebration. So when the Lord, put the spirit on this brother to write this psalm, and it's saying, mine eye also shall see my desire in mine enemies, and mine ear shall hear my desire of the wicked that rise up against me. That is something that not only our foreparents, our ancestors that were in slavery and further on back, that's something that we should have a desire of too. We should have that desire to see the wicked that rise up against us, against our people, to be cut down, to perish. For that's true justice. Not this, government system. Oh, okay, well, here's the law, and okay, he did this. Okay, that. No, we got to make sure that we love justice that is actually just in the sight of Yahweh Shem Shai, not to this man's land's terms and conditions and what they think that justice is, because we know that it's perverted. So these are the things that we got to keep in mind, because in the end, like in verse 9 says, it says, all the workers of iniquity shall be scattered. And that's not only, okay, Esau, the other nations, yes, they're going to be, judged heavily, but we are going to be judged as well in that day. And we don't want to be considered a worker of iniquity. We don't want to be considered, a tear. We don't want to be considered the wicked, because we know that, like in verse 7, it says that they shall be destroyed forever. We don't want to be destroyed. We want the kingdom. So we can't be ignorant of what's going on. We can't be ignorant of Satan's devices and trying to be caught up in this world and what feels good, and oh, you don't want to tell nobody no, and you're nervous and shy and scared. No, we got to be bold for this truth, bold for the Lord. And a lot of times people claim that, oh yeah, I know what's going on, I got this wisdom, I got this knowledge. Even people in the world that kind of know some stuff, but they don't keep the commandments. They got all this zeal. Oh yeah, I love my people, black power, this and that. But we got to make sure that we have that spirit, that love too, for our nation. But we got to also couple that with the commandments and the knowledge of what the Most High has granted us and blessed us with in the truth. So, I think all that to say, let's get into this article. It's called The 4th of July. All right. I'm not going to read this whole thing. I'm going to just skip through it. Let me see. Okay. Let me see. Okay, I'll start right here. All of this is good, but for sake of time, I'm gonna stop right here. Because just to sum it up here, it gives a little quote from President Obama in a speech he gave on the 4th of July. I don't know what year that was, but around the time when he was running. So probably that 2008 era, somewhere around there, because it says 238 years ago. So we see that right now it's 250. So y'all can do the math. But basically, he was saying, oh, our founders came together and they had this great idea, revolutionary idea, that we're all created equal, we're free to govern ourselves, da da da, da, and we're entitled to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, right? So now here, Malcolm X, I'm sure everybody knows about Malcolm X. It says, during the 1960s, Malcolm X was one of the most strident critics of U.S. foreign and domestic policy, especially in regards toward Black people. He regularly reminded his audiences that Black people's origins in this country were not the same as others, telling us that we didn't land at Plymouth Rock like the Pilgrims, but Plymouth Rock landed on us. And it's also important, too, because, a lot of the times I be thinking and feeling like, sometimes sisters don't really get into history as we should. Talking about myself as well, because sometimes we just kind of take things for face value. Okay, they told me this, and this. Even in it's true, they told me this and this. Okay, this is what it is. But we got to get in the habit of getting into our history, learning more about our people, what we went through, different events and historical events that we might not have learned in school, might not have learned in the scriptures. We got to really get into our history, because these nations, they did their part. They did their part in erasing our history from us, you know, and then obviously, according to our disobedience, of course, can't forget about that. Because of our disobedience, we forgot who we were, forgot who our God was, what we're supposed to be doing, what we're placed here to do. So now that the Most High has had mercy on us, brought us into this truth, we have a chance now to reclaim our heritage, reclaim our history, and be able to change the narrative, change and reverse these curses, most high willing, by keeping the commandments. And you gotta know your history. You gotta know your history. Even in the world, they say, you gotta know your history so you don't repeat it. And we don't want to repeat what our wicked forefathers and foremothers did, which was breaking the commandments, following after other gods, worshiping man, doing what man is doing, these other nations are doing. So, saying all that to say, we gotta get into history more. We gotta get into history more. Okay, going back to the article. So we got right here is a quote from Malcolm X. No, I'm not an American. I'm one of the 22 million Black victims of Americanism, one of the 22 million Black victims of democracy, nothing but disguised hypocrisy. Malcolm told a Cleveland, Ohio audience in April of 1964. So I'm not standing here speaking to you as an American or a patriot or a flag saluter or a flag waver. No, not I. I'm speaking as a victim of this American system, and I see America through the eyes of the victim. I don't see any American dream. I see an American nightmare. And this is deep. This is deep. Malcolm X didn't have it all together. Obviously, he wasn't, keeping the commandments, and stuff like that. But you know, he did. He was in the spirit of, really feeling for his nation. And that's something we got to get back to too every day, because we sometimes we get so comfortable in this man's system in the day-to-day life. Okay, we work, we sleep, okay, I'm going to the grocery store, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. But we kind of forget that everybody isn't as fortunate as us. I'll say it like that. There's still millions of our people that are incarcerated, some of them even innocent, being abused, children being abused, women, men being abused. There's still slavery. There's still sundown towns in America. People forget about that. Mess around and be in a sundown town down in the south, or down up in Idaho and Montana and stuff like that. There's still sundown towns all over the United States. Be out there if you want to, alone after sundown. Many people, many truckers, they have stories. This is still something it's not a thing that just, okay, that was 1960, that was 1950, 1940. No, this is still happening in 2026. A 21-year-old in Albany was just found hung. A sister was just hung, I think, a few weeks ago. I forget where it was. I think maybe Georgia too. I'm not sure. A brother hung in Mississippi. Like, these are things that are still happening to this day. So when our people are going around, okay, yeah, we got the day off, we gonna barbecue, we got my American flag shirt on, my American pants on, and so on and so forth. I got my fireworks and this and that. It's hypocrisy. It's foolish. It's foolish. And we're, as a people, we're not doing nothing but funding our oppression. You're funding your oppression. Because if you are willing to participate, celebrate, because you got to pay for the stuff. It's not just, showing up at your front doorstep. Our people are going out there, they're buying the stuff, buying the decor, buying the food, buying the fireworks. All that stuff goes to our oppressor. That money goes to the oppressor for them to continue oppressing us. Child traffic rings, all that stuff. That we are victims in this man's society. We're not free. So This is something that we got to keep in our minds as well, and letting our people who don't know, because a lot of people don't know. Everybody's not just, oh, well, I know what's going on, but, I'm still going to do it anyway. A lot of our people are ignorant. They don't know yet. So we got to keep this in mind as well and be willing to share this wisdom, because a lot of people don't know. But we got to know also why we don't keep these things as well, because you can say all day, oh yeah, no, I don't keep 4th of July, I don't keep Christmas, I don't keep, Valentine's Day, whatever the case is. But when somebody comes up to you and is like, oh, why not? Now you're confounded. You don't want to be in that situation. We want to be able to defend this faith and give an answer to every man. Let me get that really quick. And this is book of First Peter 3:15. But sanctify the Lord God in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asketh you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear. So we have to be willing to always sanctify the Most High in our hearts. We got to be able to defend this faith, be always ready to give an answer, and that comes with studying. That comes with knowing, seeking actively, wanting to know. Because somebody comes up to you and is looking to you for answers, guidance, an ounce of that light that you got from the Most High, you ain't got no answer. You could just that could be a sheep just turned away right there. They'll be like, oh well, they don't know what's going on. Why should I do it? They don't even know why they're not keeping this holiday. They're just telling me not to do it. You don't want to. You don't want to. You don't want to be. You don't want to be that. You don't want to be that person. So back to the article. Let's skip down. Okay. This is an excerpt from Frederick Douglass. A lot of us learned about Frederick Douglass in school. He's an escaped slave who learned how to read and write. And, he was a very well-known orator of, what happened during slavery. He was a slavery abolitionist. Forgive me. Forgive me. But this is what he said in a piece of his literature. What to the slave is the 4th of July? It reads, a day that reveals to him more than all the other days in the year the gross injustice and cruelty to which he is the constant victim. To him, your celebration is a sham. Your boasted liberty and unholy license, your national greatness, swelling vanity. Your sounds of rejoicing are empty and heartless. Your denunciations of tyrants, brass fronted impudence, your shouts of liberty and equality, hollow mockery. Your prayers and hymns, your sermons and thanksgivings, with all your religious parade and solemnity are to him mere bombast, fraud, deception, impiety, and hypocrisy, a thin veil to cover up crimes which would disgrace a nation of savages. There is not a nation on earth guilty of practices more shocking and bloody than are the people of these United States at this very hour. So this is the stuff that they want you to forget. They want you to forget about how bad slavery was when they ate us, when they put our men, buck brick our men, they're SAing our women. Trying to be mindful of my words. All types of atrocities. We can't even fathom all the things that truly happened in the time of slavery. Even before slavery. I mean, these other nations, they did, unspeakable crimes. But this is what our people are celebrating, whether knowingly or unknowingly. And if you just sit back and watch how these other nations move when it comes to the 4th of July, they take this day very seriously. I mean, they're prepping weeks, months in advance sometimes. They getting shirts made. They're setting up events, different dishes, menus, all this type of stuff. They don't play no games when it comes to this because this is something where they sit back and they remember this is how great America is. Yes, we made it to another year. Yes, America's birthday. But it's all full of it's a fraud. This country is a fraud. They claim to have justice, claim to have they promote peace and freedom and happiness and oh everybody's welcome here and but we were never welcome here. We never have equality here. They may give us some of a little crumb. Some of us might get a little something, but we're still oppressed. We're not in the land of our captivity. We're not in the land of our homeland. We're still in the land of our captivity. So there is no freedom, there's no liberty because we're still in the land where we were held captive. And even now, we still see many deceptions are still prevalent upon our people. They deceive us to think that, okay, you know, we aren't the God's chosen people. We got, Amalek, they're the true Jews. It's not y'all. We got them telling our kids, oh, it's okay to love who you love. It's love is love and God is love. And, that just means that you can be what you want to be instead of what the Most High told you are and who you're supposed to be with and this and that. This place is filthy. This is a bloody land. So we got to remember all the things that have gone on and are still going on. Because the moment that we forget, we start getting into that delusion. We start to get deceived, thinking that, America's not that bad. I still get to go out to eat. I still get to go take this trip. And, oh, we get to do this and that. Well, maybe America isn't that bad. And that's where you mess up. Because this place is going to be finished. The Lord is bringing a heavy judgment to this place. Let me get some precepts. And we'll come back to that if I want some more. Let's get the book of Psalms. Psalms chapter 9. And we'll start at okay. All of this is good. I'm gonna jump around. Take your time. It's Psalm chapter 9, verse 3. When mine enemies are turned back, they shall fall and perish at thy presence. For thou hast maintained my right and my cause. Thou sattest in the throne judging right. Thou hast rebuked the heathen. Thou hast destroyed the wicked. Thou hast put out their name forever and ever. So this was going to happen. The Most High is going to rebuke the heathen. He is just letting these wicked nations heap up sin and iniquity and bloodshed and just utter madness so he can destroy them. And it's going to be just because y'all are wicked. Y'all are wicked. Anybody who's wicked, they're going to get that judgment. So we got to make sure that we are maintaining our right, maintaining this cause of keeping these commandments, being righteous, having faith and fear in Yahweh Shema Shai, because this place is coming to an end. And we don't want to be a part of that end. We want to be a part of the new beginning where Yahweh Shai is in rulership. We're in the kingdom. We have these new bodies and we're reaping what we sowed, which was righteousness. Written on verse 6, O thou enemy, destructions are come to a perpetual end, and thou hast destroyed cities. Their memorial is perished with them. But the Lord shall endure forever. He hath prepared his throne for judgment, and he shall judge the world in righteousness. He shall minister judgment to the people in uprightness. The Lord also will be a refuge for the oppressed, a refuge in times of trouble. And they that know thy name will put their trust in thee. For thou, Lord, hast not forsaken them that seek thee. So the Lord is going to be that refuge for those that are oppressed, those that truly know the name of the Lord, truly know that, Lord, he is righteous, he is just, he is not with anything that this wicked place has going on. He's not with the 4th of July, he's not with any of this. So those that Don't forsake to seek the Lord, to say, no, I'm not finna go to the cookout. I'm not finna keep these holidays. I'm not finna do this. I'm not finna follow after wickedness. Those are the ones that the Most High is going to be a refuge for, a safe place for. When those times of trouble come, when Jacob's trouble is at its all-time high, when all hell is breaking loose and it's massive bloodshed, massive judgment, and spirits in the earth, those are going to be the ones who are going to have their refuge in the Lord. Those that are righteous. Let me skip down. Verse 12. When he maketh inquisition for blood, he remembereth them. He forgetteth not the cry of the humble. Have mercy upon me, O Lord. Consider my trouble which I suffer of them that hate me, thou that liftest me up from the gates of death. So, just like the Most High doesn't forget the cry of the humble, we got to make sure that we also are not forgetting the cry of our brothers and sisters and ourselves. If we haven't gone through half of the things that our forefathers have gone through, but yet we still are oppressed. We still are living in these curses. We're still in these fleshy bodies. We go off. We struggle with things, but we don't want to be ignorant again of the things that we have been going through and the things that our people are still going through. We don't. Because again, as soon as you forget about the humble, now you're thinking about those that are lifted up. These wicked kings and high governors and elites. Now you're thinking about them and their agenda and what they want you to think about. They want you to forget about the lower level people, so called the poor, those that are down here. Oh well, they don't got no money. They don't got nothing going on. They over there. That's what these wicked nations, these wicked elites, that's what they want us to think about. But the Lord, he deals with the humble. He deals with the meek, the lowly. That's exactly the same spirit that we want to be in. Let me go. Let's keep going on this. Let's go to verse 15. The heathen are sunk down in the pit that they made. In the net which they hid is their own foot taken. The Lord is known by the judgment which he executeth. The wicked is snared in the work of his own hands. Higgaion Selah. The wicked shall be turned into hell, and all the nations that forget God. For the needy shall not always be forgotten. The expectation of the poor shall not perish forever. O arise, O Lord, let not man prevail. Let the heathen be judged in thy sight. Put them in fear, O Lord, that the nations may know themselves to be but men. Selah. Because these nations, they really think that they're something. They really think that they're untouchable. They've gotten away with, oppressing our people for centuries, thousands of years. So the Most High, he got to come and humble them, set their foot in their own traps. He's coming to execute judgment, and we don't want to get caught up in that judgment that the Most High has for the wicked, because the Lord is literally known for his judgments. Even in the time of Egypt, the other nations like, oh man, their God is the God that did that to the Egyptians, and they all them plagues, man, that was the Red Sea, get swallowed in the Red Sea, man. The Lord is known by the judgments that he executes. And it's just. It's just when he gives it. Let's get this in Job. This is Job chapter 8, and let's get it verse 22. They that hate thee shall be clothed with shame, Slakia, and the dwelling place of the wicked shall come to naught. So those that hate us, they're gonna be clothed with shame. Right now, they're in mirth. Literally, right now. Right now, they're in mirth. They're at the 4th of July party. They're at the cookout. They're eating green bean casseroles and pork ribs and burgers and hot dogs. And they in mirth. They ain't got nothing to worry about. They drinking. They having a good time. Eating some, dessert. They might be at the pool. They might be whatever. But there is a time that is coming where their place, their dwelling place, their safety, their mirth is going to come to naught. It's going to be nothing but mourning, sadness. Let me get this. And Let's get Psalms 44. 24. Okay. Psalms 44, and let me get verse 24. It reads, I'm gonna start at I'm gonna start at 20. If we have forgotten the name of our God or stretched out our hands to a strange God, shall not God search this out? For he knoweth the secrets of the heart. Yeah, for thy sake are we killed all the day long. We are counted as sheep for the slaughter. Awake, why sleepest thou, O Lord? Arise, cast us not off forever. Wherefore hidest thou thy face, and forgettest our affliction and our oppression? For our soul is bowed down to the dust, our belly cleaveth unto the earth. Arise for our help, and redeem us for thy mercy's sake. So this is something that we gotta remember. This is something we gotta remember. We are in this predicament because we forgot the name of Yahweh Shemel Shai. We forgot who we were. We forgot that we made a covenant with the Most High to keep His commandments, to have faith in Him and His Son. And we got to know that if we don't make sure our inward is right, our spirit man is right, then we're gonna be finished. We're gonna be cast off forever. And we don't want the Most High to, take His mercy away from us. We don't want Him to forget about the oppression that our people are in, that we're in, the afflictions of the flesh, all these things. We do not want to be forgotten of the Lord, because that means that we're gonna be destroyed. We don't get the kingdom. We want to make sure that our inward is right, because we know that the Most High, He weigheth the spirits. He knows the secrets of the heart. He knows if we really want to serve Him, or if we really want to keep 4th of July, keep these wicked holidays. If we've forgotten about the madness and the wickedness that goes on to this day, He knows. So we got to make sure our spirit man is right, and we're self-examining daily that we are really in this for the right reasons, and that we really love this truth and righteousness. Let me get this in Isaiah 49. Yeah, verse 15. This is Isaiah chapter 49 and verse 15. It reads, Can a woman forget her sucking child, that she should not have compassion on the son of her womb? Yeah, they may forget, yet will I not forget thee. So just like, some of us, we got children. Some of us, we able to breastfeed. Nobody forgets that. Nobody forgets that bond. Even just holding your baby for the first time. Nobody forgets that. Nobody forgets their child. You're never going to forget. Even, women that have suffered through, losing a child, before they even came out. Women don't forget that. How much more the creator? The creator, he's not going to forget anything. He doesn't forget anything. He don't forget what they did back in 1960. He didn't forget about the things they did before Christ came on the scene. He didn't forget about nothing. He's the creator of all things. So when the Most High says that He's not going to forget about all the lynchings, all the killing, the rob, the murder, all the wickedness and the atrocities that have gone on, the economical oppression, that's a form of oppression too. Not having enough to eat. Some of our people don't got enough to eat. They got to rely on the food stamp. They got to rely on, all these different things. All that is oppression. It's not always just, getting your back beat in with, the whip, having to pick cotton. No, there's many different levels of oppression, and mental oppression, and physical oppression, it's economical oppression. It's different forms, and these nations have mastered all forms of it. So the Most High, He's not gonna forget about that. He's not gonna forget about us. But we gotta make sure we're doing our part and staying blameless and abstaining from all appearances of evil. Let me get. We're gonna stay in Isaiah. Let's get chapter 51. let's start at verse 5. It reads, "My righteousness is near, my salvation is gone forth, and mine arms shall judge the people. The isle shall wait upon me, and on mine arm shall they trust. Lift up your eyes to the heavens, and look upon the earth beneath. For the heavens shall vanish away like smoke, and the earth shall wax old like a garment, and they that dwell therein shall die in like manner. But my salvation shall be forever, and my righteousness shall not be abolished. Hearken unto me, ye that know righteousness, the people in whose heart is my law. Fear ye not the reproach of men, neither be ye afraid of their revilings." So this is important. This is important. This is something we got to keep in mind, especially when you're faced with, that temptation. You might be faced with temptation to go back into the world, to go start hanging back with your old family members and your friends. Dang, it's been a minute, and I really don't have nobody. I feel lonely. Well, maybe if I just go over there, whatever the case is, we want to make sure that because we know righteousness, we got to make sure that knowing these scriptures that we know, hey, look, this place is about to go. This place is about to be finished. Wax old like a garment, an old raggedy garment, holes, and it's tore up, and you don't want to deal with it. The Lord is about to bring severe judgment to this place. So we got to make sure that we have the law in our hearts, making sure we have it on our minds, making sure that we're meditating on it continually and fearing the Most High, not the reproach of men, because we're coming into a time where we're going to be persecuted. We're going to be persecuted by these nations. The same people who, they want you to keep 4th of July, they want you to celebrate America, they're going to be the same people chasing us, locking some of us up, might be on the guillotine, get your head chopped off, might be, harming your kids, trying to. We don't know. We don't know. But we know that a lot of us are going to die for this truth. But we can't fear these things to come. We have to have trust in the Most High that no matter what comes, or no matter what these devils try to throw at us, throw at our husbands, or throw at our children, whoever, that hey, as long as we don't, denounce the name of Yahweh Shemel Shai, keeping these commandments, fearing the Lord before we fear the reproach of men and what man could do unto us, who bleed just like us, we're going to make sure that we have trust in the Most High so that we can get that kingdom, that we know that we have something laid up for us. If we die for this truth, we got that crown waiting for us. These are the things that we got to be mindful of, but we can't be afraid of the revilings, because the Most High is going to bring out that judgment, speedy judgment. And let me get this in. Let's get this in GNT. Multiplies verse 11, 13. All right, this is the same chapter, just in the GNT. It reads, "Those whom you have rescued will reach Jerusalem with gladness, singing and shouting for joy. They will be happy forever, forever free from sorrow and grief. The Lord says, I am the one who strengthens you. Why should you fear mortals who are no more enduring than grass? Have you forgotten the Lord who made you, who stretched out the heavens and laid the earth's foundations? Why should you live in constant fear of the fury of those who oppress you, of those who are ready to destroy you? Their fury can no longer touch you." So, this is something important too, because, a lot of our people they do live in fear. Even when, like on a small level, you might get pulled over by the cops, like, dang, I don't know what he gonna say, how is this interaction gonna turn out? Dang, I don't know what's gonna happen. That's just on a small level. You got some people who are genuinely terrified They're being abused in these prisons, people getting snatched up, etc. But we got to make sure that as we've been freed from, let's say, the shackles of not knowing, the shackles of thinking that, this is the end all be all, knowing that we have promises set up for us if we keep these law, statutes, and commandments, we have the Most High who strengthens us. So we don't have to fear mortal man. We don't have to fear the system. We don't have to fear the things to come because we know through the scriptures that the Most High, He hasn't forgotten about us and that His word is true. He's not a man that He shall lie. So we got to know that in this truth, we can't be living in constant fear. Dang, what's going to happen to Jacob's trouble? Dang, what's going to happen to my children? Dang, are we going to make it? Oh man, this, and that. We just have to keep the commandments, continue to pray, have faith in the Most High, and just pray that the Most High's prophecies come to pass. Send the curses on these nations. Praying that justice is fulfilled, brought out, true justice. Because we know the vengeance is of the Lord. We're not here to be, vigilantes and, taking matters into our own hands. We're waiting on true justice from the Most High because He can do it better than anybody can. We're just mortal man. We just got to focus on what we can do, what we can control, which is keeping the commandments, making sure that we have a sincere spirit and fearing the Most High. This is Luke chapter 17, about to wind down, in verse 32. Remember Lot's wife. This is verse 33. Whosoever shall seek to save his life shall lose it, and whosoever shall lose his life shall preserve it. So we got to keep this in mind. For the times that we're coming in, the times right now, there's people being oppressed right now, and it's only going to get worse. But we can't be those people seeking to save your life. Oh no, well, I'll do what you say. Okay, well maybe it won't be that bad and we're willing to compromise on our faith. We shouldn't be willing to compromise on our faith for nothing or nobody. Because we know that if we lose our life, we shall preserve it. And we can't look back. We can't look back. We don't want to be like Lot's wife. So don't look back into the world. We done did that. We done did the wickedness, kept these 4th of July's and all these holidays, and we did the cookouts and this and that. We're done with that. And a lot of the times, people, well, more so in the world, but they be like, oh, well, if I did so and so and so and so, my grandma would be rolling in her grave, but we don't have that as a people. We don't have that foreknowledge of, dang, our ancestors really went through it, and why did we go through it? Because we were disobedient to the Most High. And so for that, for the suffering that our foreparents went through, we should be able to learn from their mistakes and be like, you know what? This place is wicked. I see this judgment that was carried out on our people. I don't want that for me and my children. Let's keep the commandments. Let's keep pressing forward toward the mark. Let's get the kingdom. Let's not turn back to our wickedness, to our own vomit. Let me get this in Zephaniah. This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 1. We'll start at verse 14. It reads, the great day of the Lord is near. It is near and hasteth greatly, even the voice of the day of the Lord. The mighty man shall cry there bitterly. That day is a day of wrath, a day of trouble and distress, a day of wasteness and desolation, a day of darkness and gloominess, a day of clouds and thick darkness, a day of the trumpet and alarm against the fenced cities and against the high towers. And I will bring distress upon men, that they shall walk like blind men, because they have sinned against the Lord, and their blood shall be poured out as dust, and their flesh as the dung. Neither their silver nor their gold shall be able to deliver them in the day of the Lord's wrath, but the whole land shall be devoured by the fire of his jealousy, for he shall make even a speedy riddance of all them that dwell in the land. So this is some scary stuff right here. This is some scary stuff. But these are precepts that we gotta meditate on. Because the day of the Lord is not cherries and rainbows and lollipops and ice cream. It's not. It's a day of darkness, gloominess, distress. Sometimes you really just gotta sit and think about the worst thing you've ever heard happen, whether to yourself or to somebody else, and times that by a million. That's gonna be the day of the Lord. In order to escape that, it's not gonna be your gold, your money, like how much money you got, what car, where you live at. It's gonna be your spirit. It's gonna be your spirit. It's gonna be the determining factor of if we get saved from this horrible, horrible time that the world has never seen before. The great day of the Lord. So I'm ended off with this as Iraq, and just encourage ourselves to keep going, to keep pressing forward. Don't look back because there's nothing for us in the world. There's nothing for us but a sword and destruction and death and torment. This is Sirach 26 and verse 28. There be two things that grieve my heart, and the third maketh me angry. A man of war that suffereth poverty, and men of understanding that are not set by, and one that returneth from righteousness to sin. The Lord prepareth such an one for the sword. So, all praise to the Most High. Lord willing, we can continue to be righteous and not turn to sin, turn to wickedness, to folly, to things of this world. Because if we do, the Lord prepares a sword for those who do that. Those who follow out the truth, those who couldn't endure, those who, didn't try hard enough, didn't give it their all. They got a sword waiting on them. And that's scary stuff. So, Lord willing, this was edifying. I love you, sisters. Lord willing, y'all have a good rest of y'all Sabbath day. If y'all have any questions, concerns, by all means, bring that thing out. All praise the Most High. And come on, let me see.